All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Eventful Life. I have been missing you guys. We took last week off. I'm sure you noticed. Y'all always do. We took last week off because of life. I had work. I had a event that I had to do. But we're back this week and we are in a whole new month. We're in the month of October. I can't even believe it. Like we were just talking before we hit play, we were just talking or hit record. We were just talking about how it seems like once we hit October, the rest of the year just flies by, and 2020 is no exception for that. So here we are in October. What I am excited about, though, guys, is that October for me is such a pivotal month. It's like a month of releasing, renewing. It's a fresh season. You know, we start to see the leaves change and fall. And so really it is like this whole releasing of sorts that happens in the last quarter of the year. And so I thought, what better way to kind of set the tone and get us ready for what I believe is going to be an outstanding 2021 than to talk about business, right? Because now we have had time to see kind of what 2020 has laid out for us as it relates to our business. We've had time to kind of check in with ourselves. And so I'm excited to kick off this month talking about business with not only you guys, but of course, some phenomenal women that I'm bringing to you who are going to share some of their experiences as it relates to their own business and kind of what this season of business has meant for them. So I have none other than one of my favorite and fabulous and fierce femalepreneurs, Ashley Nicole Johnson. She is the owner of ANJPR, and I'm just really excited to have you here, Ashley. You know that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janelle. And I've been following your series, and I have to commend you because you were one of the first entrepreneurs that really hopped on the wave of doing virtual chats and conversations. And I remember you did a small business at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so from there, you start to see other people jump on the bandwagon. But I love that you're always on it. And you end up being really a trailblazer in that effort. So kudos to you.
So much. Thank you for saying that. And I wish I could take all the credit, but because you are a faith girl like I am, that a lot of times when I'm moving, even in my business, I'm really listening to what God is telling me to do, and that usually is what kind of makes, or not kind of, but does make my movement happen, is when he just lays it on my heart and says, this is what you need to do next. So I appreciate you saying that, though. And of course, the admiration is mutual, because I love what you are doing with the mentorship circle. It is so needed right now, and we're about to talk about why it's needed just in business in general. While a lot of us entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, are trying to figure out what are our next steps in business, and also trying to sort through kind of what has happened to our business through the course of 2020. So Ashley, let's jump in and let's start right there. Like I said, this year of business for many has just been what I kind of define as blessings and burdens. I do believe that both can coexist in the same space. And I believe that this year has brought both for many of us. And so how has it impacted your business this year with, ushering in a full on pandemic, right? That just stopped us all in our tracks. What did that look like for your business?
Well, it was interesting because at that time we had two client projects. We had two PR campaigns that we were running. One was for a band, a group, and the other was for an influencer. Engagements to get them some media securement. And a lot of those opportunities were booked, but then ended up being canceled. So
Mm.
it was interesting to navigate that. But again, thank God for gracious clients who were able to
Yes.
actually exceed our goals, because the virtual world allowed us to do virtual media placements. So now we're not having to worry about, oh, well, this person is only covers stories in LA. Now they're more open because virtual, you can connect across the world. So we ended up seeing a good trend in that.
That's
But
awesome.
that did shake up things, because I'm like, we're going through a pandemic. A lot of our clients are small business entrepreneurs, women bosses,
Right.
CEOs, and my spirit just did not feel right about trying to garner more business and
Yeah.
market ANJPR. My heart wasn't there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's what really envisioned, how can we really create community impact at this moment? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
thinking about business impact and trying to, get contracts, I shifted my mindset to really think about community impact, social impact. How
Yeah.
can we alleviate pain points for people that are going through it, not only with their business, but through mental wellness?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know I was impacted because this is the first time this has ever happened,
Wow.
in my life. And on top of that, it was just crazy. The media,
Yeah.
always
Yes.
being on social media and seeing things you don't know is true, and then it's political. So I
Right.
say that to
And
say,
that's the field you work in. So, I mean, it's like you're probably looking at this like, okay, I know all about media and PR and stuff, and the stuff that's coming out is like even blowing your mind. So that's crazy, especially when you think about just the average person who was getting hit by this, by the stuff that was going on out there too.
yeah, and then fake news. You just
Yeah.
a lot of stuff out there just to manipulate,
Right.
everything,
Right.
this political election, right? So
Yeah.
that being said, it was a shift. It definitely impacted the business and the opportunities that we were moving forward with clients.
Mhm.
And then, but it was a blessing because we ended up creating something that was more meaningful to women entrepreneurs, which
Yeah.
is the mentorship circle. So,
Yeah. So I want to go back to what you said about just the roadblock of how do I do business in this climate, right? Like that really spoke to me when you said that, because I can remember having the exact same thought when the pandemic first hit, because I was in the middle of kind of starting this whole rebranding process, and I was like,
that, yeah.
how in the world am I supposed to do business right now? It's one thing when you're doing business and you've had your business for a long time, but even then it was still difficult to wrap your mind around, how do I actually like sell and communicate my business to people when I turn on the news and I see that people are suffering, or I'm looking around and it is like disaster after disaster after disaster, right? So I want to shed some light on that, because I'd love to hear how you shared, with the pivoting,
Right.
but what did you have to do mentally to kind of get yourself back on track with, okay, Ashley, like, yeah, we might have to change course here because because we can't come out the gates with the same message. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's really what it was. It was a pause, and having to have conversations with the team to talk about what should we do now. And
Yeah.
I remember the pandemic at the beginning, springtime was very different than what it is now. So
Right.
the mental piece, the uncertainty was like scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was really a big pause where it's like, yeah, I'm not stealing. I mean, I'm not sending any e-blast promoting anything at this point,
Anything.
because
Right.
right now I'm worried about my family.
Right.
I'm worried about my career and making sure that I
Right.
can financially take care of myself.
Take
And
care of yourself, right? Yeah. Like it put things in perspective. Like, like you said, family. Is my family gonna be okay? Career, finances. Am I gonna be able to pay my bills? Like, So I definitely agree with you that it was just this kind of resounding, okay, I got to deal with this first, and
Right.
then I will pivot and figure out like what I need to do next with business. And I think a lot of women in business probably felt that way, given that we are usually the ones who are the servers. Like we
Yeah.
serve people, we serve our family, we serve our community, we serve, our those around us. So we're always thinking about everybody else, right? And you mentioned that mental wellness too.
Yeah.
We got to get ourselves together first.
You have to.
Yes, yes. So I think there was a lot of that going on. And I think there's still some, going on now where we're still in this fourth quarter, not the same, but still in this fourth quarter, there are still a lot of us who are questioning like, okay, how am I going to close out this year and what am I going to focus on for 2021? Because I don't know.
Ah, man, I tell you, that's kind of so surreal
Yeah.
because it seems like I've just been taking it day by day.
Hmm.
um,
That
but
part.
still planning for the future as much as we can.
Right.
For me, I'm gonna be real with you. It's just I just want to execute Q4 to the best of my ability
Yes.
with my mind being sharp and really focused on God. That's
Yeah.
really it for me. And I truly believe after, unfortunately, I think the election is a big thing right now. And
Hmm.
depending on how that goes, it will be a shift in people's mental health as well. And
Agreed.
it's to, the economy, businesses being able to get um, different benefits because of
Yeah.
the pandemic. We don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. There's
really,
still a lot of question marks, you
yeah,
know? There really is. So, you know, and I think this is a great segue into kind of my next question for you, which is, you know, have you found that you've also experienced this season of reflection that's been going on, in your business? Because while a lot of business owners have suffered loss, like I know, I've watched a lot of my colleagues close their doors, unfortunately,
yeah.
have to lay off people. Um, you
So
know,
it's so disheartening, man. I
Oh,
tell you,
it breaks my heart,
it does.
and especially when you know how hard small business owners work
Yeah,
to build their business and build this legacy, that they are looking to then maybe pass down to their family or their children or what have
right.
you. Um, but I've also seen this, and again, I use that term blessings and burdens because I've also seen this kind of resilience of sorts with a lot of business owners where they're like, this gave me time to reflect on my business, on where I was as a business owner. And so, have you had that sort of reckoning this year, like with yourself as a business owner? Like, this was hard, and yes, this hurt, but at the same time, and we kind of had this conversation before we went live, at the same time, I needed this.
For sure. I feel like this has been the best year of my life, to be quite
Mm,
honest with you.
wow.
And it's so weird to say, but it's genuine
Yeah.
because the way that I was moving prior to this global pandemic was really, I don't want to, I don't, faking it till you make it. I mean,
Yeah.
if your heart and your mind and your spirit is not 100% committed to what God wants you to do, everything else is a distraction. So
Yeah.
work is a distraction,
Yeah.
hustling, bustling to the next event or to the next client project, being with friends and family, having to
Mhm.
shuffle all of that, but not really putting yourself first. And
Right.
that is it's not a good thing because you're pouring out of literally an empty cup. If it's
Yeah.
not empty, it's quite low. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I really realized that I was pouring on that level, but being in my space and having so much time alone
Mhm.
and reflecting made me wake up and smell the coffee. And
Yeah.
I think from a spiritual realm, that is what God really did. And the believers who get it, they'll take the time,
Yes.
you know.
Absolutely.
And so I'm thankful for this time. Yes, business slowed down. Yes, my mental health was crazy, but thank God for a support system. Thank God for virtual connections and being able to
Yes.
kind of have more of an opportunity to knock on people's door that you may have not, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's virtual. Yes,
That
events.
kind of levels the playing field, right?
It levels the playing field. Yes, events were canceled. I remember the beginning of the pandemic. My role for my career and for ANJPR was events,
Yeah.
corporate events. And that was kind of scary because that's where we live and breathe.
Yes.
But look at God, there's Zoom now, right? There's Microsoft Teams. So there's really no excuse, and it's cheaper.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yes, girl. I'm telling you, you and I, of course, we've had this conversation. We kind of are very much aligned in where we were in this season in business and in life. And I've had a lot of the same thoughts and feelings, just really not realizing that I was so, overwhelmed with my own inundation of gotta do all the things. And this season allowed, like you said, to just stop me in my tracks to say, hey, right now, this is about you. You got to get you together. You got to get you back on track so that you can serve at a whole nother capacity that I need you to serve and lead at. And I'm like, one thing I want to say, Ashley, is because you're a leader too, especially in your area of expertise, is that we as leaders and as women, we have to be okay with being flawed. We have to be okay with being flawed and also giving ourselves the leniency to say, you know what, I may not always get it right, but I'm gonna show up in my realness. And it starts with me saying it's okay for me to take care of myself so that I can then, like you said, pour from a place that's really full and not empty.
And pouring from a place that's full looks different. It feels different.
Yes, it
and
does.
it's a different type of quality of people that attract to it. The real people, And
Yes.
so,
Yeah. It may not be for everybody.
no.
And that's okay. And that's the other part, is that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfectly fine with me. Because you just want real, pure people in your life.
Yes.
Especially as God expands your vision and he takes you from glory to glory. You can't be in the same circles. Because like you said, not everybody's going to get it.
Come on now.
And when you're healed too, people can receive it in a different way because they're not in that spiritual realm.
In that realm. That's right. That's right. I love that. And that is really my hope, is that a lot of business owners, women in business who are out there who were so depleted and just so like running yourself dog ragged. Like I will never embrace, I have had to shift my mindset of hustling. I said, child, where you hustling to get to?
For real though. But that's something I have to understand. That is a insecurity. It's an insecurity to always feel like you have to be busy doing stuff. Right. That means that you're not willing to sit with yourself and do the work.
That's right.
And that's what I realized. I'm like, okay, God, this is the first time I've really enjoyed exploring nature, hiking, kayaking, really just consistently doing it, being in my own space, not having to depend on somebody else to, give me entertainment, just loving myself.
Just loving on yourself and discovering yourself, like being able to answer the question, well, what do you like to do outside of like work? Like, what do you like to do for fun? So girl, somebody asked me that question. I was like,
that's a word. Okay.
I was like, wait, I'm not sure.
Come on. That's real.
And that's real. So I hope that this awakening and this reckoning, the reflection that business owners have had. And again, let me be perfectly clear, my women in business, I really hope that this has shifted you, even through the loss, that this has shifted you into a new space where we can start looking at how we do business, really doing it better doing it better and doing it in a way that is comfortable for us. Like, you do not have to do, I don't have to do business like the person next door to me. You do not have to do business like the girl down the street. Like, that thing of, I need to do it the same way I see somebody else doing it, that stops here and stops now. Do it your way. This is one of the reasons why the Eventful Life was born, is because it is time to start doing things that work well for you. Your time, your terms. Yes. That's it. None of us are made the same. God didn't create us the same. Right. So why would we do things the same?
Exactly. Right?
So,
but to that point, I want to just add, when you try to do things, the same with other people, number one, it's not going to come genuine. And then number two, right, you may not have the type of skill set or the energy that someone else does, that in the way that they operate. That's so right, it doesn't even come out the same.
That's right. That's right. I always use the phrase, we are all playing with a different
live
cards. Like, our cards are all different. The 52 cards you got in your deck are completely different from the 52 cards I got in my deck.
Love.
Play your cards. Play your cards.
Right. Play to win with your cards.
Play to win, but with your cards. So actually, my last question for you before we get ready to close out is this. What would you say have been your top 3 lessons that you can share with our audience about how you did business pre-COVID versus how you are feeling led to do business? I can't even say post-COVID because COVID ain't went nowhere, but through this 2020 season.
That's a really good question. And Janelle, I want to say this before we close out, before I forget. The Eventful Life was a good thing for you. And I'll tell you why. It's because you have a natural gift of reporting, journalism, hosting, pulling out stories. And it was so beautiful to see the way that you used that platform when you went and left the DMV, and you were new in the area in Indiana, and you used that platform. But I really think it's you. I think it's a game changer for you. Because you have a gift of really pulling out stories. So I want to say that first.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And again, sometimes you don't know what you're doing. I just know who I'm doing it for.
Amen. And that's important. That's important. And to answer your question about lessons learned pre-COVID and how I would do things differently moving forward, I think it's really the empathy piece and the servant leadership that's vital. I think we miss it sometimes, of always trying to, the hustle piece, chasing the bag and all this stuff. And when you have a team, you're thinking about making sure that you're covering them financially as well.
Yes.
And when we focus on that, the operational side of business, we miss out on how we're truly serving the people.
Yes.
Target audience. What do they really need? Yeah. And when you start to think about that and leading with empathy, your customer experience and service is going to be different. You're going to check in a little bit differently in the way you're going to watch the tone in which you speak to people.
Yes.
You're going to ask them how their day is. Yeah. And then you're going to go into the agenda, right?
Yeah.
And so I think just removing the operational piece and really coming from it from again, servant leadership, I think is a big lesson. And I think that's where the mentorship circle really was birthed, because I had got a lot of different women of all ages asking me questions. And I'm like, me and you are very much the same. We love to give.
Yes.
But sometimes we kind of overgive where our capacity can't really be ready for it.
Need it, right?
Right. And you want to so bad, and then you kind of overbook yourself, or you forget, or you do things that's just not how you want to be represented. But again, you're overtaxing yourself. So I was like, how can I just give an opportunity for people that really want to learn and may not have the resources, but now have the time with this pandemic to be poured into from different people that have already done it and amongst each other. And that was how the mentorship circle was birthed. And so that to me was thinking about the client first.
The people, yes.
So that's one. And then two is, which is a big thing, and I really want to nail it before I move into 2021 and for the rest of life, is the whole thing about capacity. Now I'm like, I just love my personal time so much. And I will be a mother one day. I'll be a wife one day. And
Yes.
that's why I love you, Janelle, because you set the bar high. But I want to enjoy my life. I'm
Yes.
a single woman right now. I don't want to feel like I'm working up until 11 o'clock at midnight. I love worker bees, but I don't got to do that no more.
Right.
I want to
Come
enjoy
on
the
now.
life that God has given me. I want to enjoy my family a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy the people that have really been my support system, my
Been
friends.
there. Yes.
I want to enjoy them. I want to pour into them a little bit more. So that
Girl.
something has to shift. I can't. Business can, like you said, business can be the sole priority. My career, thank God, I love. So
Yeah.
that's just, I love it, and that is what pays the bills. Thank God.
Right.
But outside of that, I'm just very delicate with my time.
Yeah.
So now moving forward, I already know my capacity with ANJPR.
Yeah.
And not only do I know my capacity, if I'm not passionate about the work,
Yeah.
there's no
It's a
reason
no.
to refer different people.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a no for me.
And it's nothing personal, but I love my personal time.
That's right.
And I want to make sure that I'm a servant in anything that I touch. So if I'm already feeling like this is a drag and this person's going to be a nuisance, nah. Why? For what? So that's the second.
And God didn't make us that way. Like that's the other thing I had to accept, is that God would not purpose us to serve people and to allow us to, to build these businesses where all of a sudden we are falling apart. We are depleted.
Okay.
We are not fulfilled. Like he said, he had plans to prosper you, not for you to be out here in the world feeling unfulfilled and not being able to do your best work, which really is a reflection of him.
Amen.
That's
good. Because you're misrepresenting God if you move in a different way. I like that.
There you go.
I like that. That's a tweet. Come on.
Yep.
For real though, you're right.
Yes. And it took me a minute to connect those dots. Like, you're not just out here, representing you, like you're representing him too. And if you're not fulfilled and you're like not, like you said, not passionate, no longer passionate about things, or you're not getting the same fulfillment, or you're burnt out, how is he getting the glory from that? That's
I tell you, that's a real thing, because we are representations of him, and that's how we draw people closer to Christ. So if you looking burnt out, nobody wants to be with somebody that looks drained and always,
They're like, why would I want to do that?
And then people are just messy in general.
Right.
So there you have it. I mean, dang, you don't break with it, So that's the second for sure. Yeah. And I think the third is the storytelling piece. That is so vital. And I'm not talking about it from a business perspective. I'm talking about the personal story, which can be qualified as personal branding if you want to be book savvy with it. But I think nowadays people are more so prone to, okay, what's Ashley outside of the CEO? How does she truly feel? How was she really navigating this time?
Yeah.
And sharing those stories, the authentic stories, where it's like, wow, you were going through that, but you still popping, you still moving, you still got things going, you're still connecting, you're still pouring into others. That's phenomenal. I feel like that's better than the surface level.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a good lesson. People are really needing that true, authentic storytelling.
Yeah. It reminds me of something. I don't know if you follow or listen to Brene Brown, but I've been like on her. Maybe I'm fangirling. I don't know, but I've been on her like white on rice lately because she speaks a lot around vulnerability and being, getting rid of the shame and the guilt that vulnerability allows you to release, right? Like just you're really showing up as your full self, no matter, and understanding that you don't have control when you decide to be vulnerable. You don't get to control, the end result. You're being vulnerable because you're really showing up in your flawedness and saying, this is who I am. But it's also where people connect with you and they get to see that this is who you are, and it relates. Yes, yes. And, you know, she said something so powerful the other day about this kind of climate of having to look like everything is all together. She's like, release all of that. She was like,
Amen.
be so willing to be vulnerable that you release all of that. Like, this is who I am. And so you're saying, I'm showing up in that because you're going to either accept it or you're not. But I'm not willing to change who I am in order for you to accept it.
But I just feel like nowadays, well, I asked to you, can you tell when people are not authentic?
You know, in the beginning, I couldn't. Like, when I first started this entrepreneurial journey, I think even I had that kind of flashy eye syndrome. If I saw somebody that looked like they was doing, then yes, I wanted to learn from them, right? And understand what things are working well for them.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have come to understand, and from a lot of, getting it wrong so that I can get it better. I'm not even trying to just get it right. I'm just trying to get it better, And so what I've learned is that you have to have discernment, with anybody that you decide to follow or look at or watch or whatever. Have discernment. It's like a recipe. You take the recipe and you take the overall recipe, but to make it your own, you're gonna have to take some things out. You're gonna have to add a dash in. You're gonna have to, and that's what you have to do for yourself. You take the recipe, but then you take some things out, add some things in, and make it you. Because like we just talked about, even what you see, it's not gonna work the exact same you see it, the way you see it is not gonna work that exact same way for you, So I have stopped placing all of my hopes and dreams in a person, because at the end of the day, you are a person just like me, and you have flaws just like I do, regardless of whether you're willing to show them or not. You have flaws. And so the only person I can put my 100% will in is God. Like, he flaws and all, he gonna never let me down. And so that's where I've really come to, Ashley. But it's taken a long time for me to understand that. And it's taken me a long time to do the work over the course of this year of the guilt that I was having from, not being able to stand the course of being a mom, being an entrepreneur, and having all these things on my plates and wanting to serve everybody at my fullest capacity, feeling like I let people down, I've done a lot of work on me. So that's why, like we said earlier, girl, going into this new year, it's like we just operate in a whole different sphere.
And I love the word game changer, because I just feel like this is a game changer. Yeah. I think it gives us more peace.
Yes.
I just peace, child. That's all.
1,000%. 1,000%. And there is nothing that's more important than your peace. There's just not.
It's top tier important, because I'm telling you. And that's all God wants us to be, at peace.
Yeah.
Nothing he gives us is going to be something that's going to deteriorate our mental capacity. We put that on ourselves.
That's right.
So let's be clear about that. That's why the discernment piece was real.
Yes. You have to, and just keep it real. Like, everybody out here is hopefully trying to just do their very best,
Right. We hope,
right? We hope, girl.
Hopefully.
But I'm not gonna nail you to the cross if you fall short, like we all do sometimes. And so, this year has taught us grace beyond grace,
Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Yes, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Amen. Because you reap what you sow.
That's what I said. That same mirror, that same lens that you're looking at somebody with will be reflected back at you. Yeah. So we have to be kind to ourselves and to others.
Oh, that's good.
Girl. So, I this time has been wonderful. I know we're running short, and this always happens where we just get to running our mouths and answering, talking about all the things. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Ashley, before we close out, I do want you to share, where can they find you? How can they stay connected with you? And I know ANJPR is always, dropping the goodies, for people to take advantage of. So also just share, if you have anything for the audience that they can tap into and be able to work with you, share that as well.
Absolutely. You guys can connect with me directly. My Instagram is at Queen Ash Ash. Also, our company Instagram is at ANJPR Consulting LLC. And our website is www.anjprconsultingllc.com. And you all can find our services, what we offer, what we're about. We are also offering, always throughout the year, looking forward to supporting other entrepreneurs in their PR marketing efforts. We do offer one-on-one consultations, and those consultations include a really great PR strategy for your brand. And so that is on our website as well. You can learn more about that and book that consultation on there. So Janelle, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's always a joy to just rap with you.
Yeah.
I feel like this was an interview.
Yeah, I know, right? I just I always appreciate sharing space with you, my dear. You are just phenomenal in every sense of the word. And, guys, I have used Ashley in her business before, even in my own professional.
She's one of our favorite clients, you all.
Yes, I don't let a whole lot of people represent me, but she represents me well and always does a phenomenal job. I think your tagline is, you elevate brands with prestige, and that is the honest truth. And I appreciate that you live what you speak, and that is so important. So thank you guys. Thank you, Ashley. I look forward to seeing you guys again. Next week, guys, I won't be on next week. I'm just sharing with you now, so you don't be calling me out like, why you miss a week? I will not be on next week because it is my birthday. So I'm not getting on here to talk to y'all on my birthday. No. I will be loving on my family and doing the things that I enjoy, just like I would want for you to. So we'll be back the following week with another woman in business, and I look forward to chatting with you then. Remember, you can have it all, but it is your time and your terms. All right, guys, have a good rest of your week. Be blessed.
Bye.